was in a Commey fight. I saw a very interesting first round, but in the second round it was a very lucky punch from Lopez. It was lucky.
Commey did a lot of power, and Lopez has a way of winding up with that right hand. We've seen it before. We saw it again tonight. You can't get hit with that kind of shot early in the fight and think that you're going to have a chance to get up and be able to weather that storm and shake that off. It's just not going to happen.
Both men opened up. One guy got there first, and then let's show you the end of the fight when he landed 31 of 35 power shots.
This is it, end of the fight. You know his man is hurt. He got him against the ropes. He squared up, defenseless, punching hard, right hand, left hand, right hand.
Okay, before I get into this, whether this was a lucky punch or not, I want to talk about Commey box real quickly, because Commey box had Lopez landing something like 43 punches, I believe, in total for this fight, and particularly the second round, they had it so that Lopez had landed some kind of extraordinary amount of punches. Yeah, 33 out of 42 punches landed, so 33 punches landed. And from the moment when he connected to deliver that knockout blow to the point where he comes in and he starts finishing off Commey, as you can see here, from that point to when the ref calls it off, 31 seconds had elapsed right there. 31 seconds, and within that time, 29 punches landed cleanly. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, that's literally a punch a second. So what I had counted was that Lopez actually landed 14 punches in total in the second round, with, probably about 11 of those being power punches. And, that's quite a big difference from what they had claimed, because they were saying that, he had landed 31 punches at the end there. And, 31 power punches, and that he actually, in the second round, I believe, threw, 42 punches. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that Commey box, as usual, is often wrong. And I know it's just a bunch of guys pushing buttons, sitting ringside, or maybe not even sitting ringside. Maybe they're watching this on, a TV or something, or a monitor. But yeah, that was a bit of an exaggeration. I just wanted to point that out. So when I first saw this fight, I never thought that this was a lucky punch. But then when I heard Lomachenko say, yeah, this was just a lucky punch, I had to kind of look at this again. Was he right? Was I wrong? Was he right that this was a lucky punch? So I thought best to just go through this fight, since it's such a short fight. It won't take that long. And I want to look at when Commey first started throwing that right overhand, because that is Commey's money punch right there. And I'm sure Lopez got the memo on that punch, I'm sure he was well aware that he's got to be fully engaged in this fight to be able to avoid that right overhand. So I did find it kind of, not humorous, but I thought it was, a little funny that when Lopez threw that jab and Commey immediately retaliated with a counter, that it was that overhand right, and it connected right with Lopez's jaw. And I think that should point out to people that Lopez can take a punch, He does have a good jaw, I think. He didn't look buzzed. He didn't look anything when he took that punch. Granted, he kind of rolled with it, He turned his head a bit. But when I play the clip with the audio on it, you can hear the punch connect. It does make a bit of a thud.
Jab right now, trying to get respect from Commey. Trying to get the distance down. There's the right hand of Richard Commey.
That is what Richard Commey is at his best, a viper-like right hand.
Okay, if you remember in the last one where I was talking about one of Teofimo's flaws, his Achilles heel, which is that he doesn't judge distance correctly, or when he punches, he doesn't know when he's going to be countered or when he's capable of being countered, especially when he's fighting orthodox fighters who are orthodox front foot fighters. You know, this actually, that positioning that he's taking right there works well against southpaws, just because of the body alignment. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he likes fighting southpaws. I don't know. Maybe he gets hit less with the, with that jab.
Tim, I'll offer you this, an opportunity to tell us a little more about...
Okay, now he's starting to be more defensively mindful. And you can see now he's bringing up that left hand. He doesn't keep it down there, swinging by the side like he normally does. He puts it up, to block that rear right that Commey likes to throw. And so this is kind of what I thought was interesting, because here's somebody that he truly respects their power, He knows that Commey can knock him out. And so he's fighting more defensively than he normally does. He's not doing the typical pull counter Mayweather approach that he typically takes when he fights guys that he knows that they're just not going to be able to hurt him, or that he can walk through some of their punches. And so he's more willing to risk getting hit in the process of pulling out that punch, baiting it, and then countering it. So it's kind of interesting to see how he fights against somebody that he believes poses a great danger to him. And then here you can also see Commey on the front foot right there. I put that line there so you can see that when he does take that position, like 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw that jab, either to the heart area, the solar plexus, or usually mostly to to Teofimo's head. Okay, now pay attention to Teofimo there stepping. He stepped forward. So he always throws a step jab. And you can tell what he's going to do most of the time when he does that, throws that step jab. And it's also kind of interesting too, because this is what I see Teofimo doing to Lomachenko. I do believe Teofimo is going to be pushing him backward by doing just exactly what he's doing right here, where he does a double step. He steps in with a jab and he shuffles forward again, really closing off that distance. So when the guy starts retreating, he's going to keep right up in there, in that space, Lomachenko space, just like he did here with Commey. And then once he does that, probably get right up and body him, so Lomachenko can't return fire and start pushing him around. And that's kind of I thought that was kind of interesting too, because I really do think that's what he's going to probably do when he fights Lomachenko. However, that is something that I do believe if he does, that Lomachenko is he's going to be dancing up and down with joy, because that will be a prime opportunity for Lomachenko to start countering Teofimo and getting him to walk right into some of his punches, because a lot of his opponents move longitudinally or in a linear fashion, not so much to the side or pivoting out or moving laterally. They're more forward backward type opponents. So I just think he's going to be really caught up with Lomachenko's footwork. I think Lomachenko's footwork is going to pose a tremendous amount of problems for Teofimo, because even though he's not flat-footed like people say he does not have the footwork or the speed of movement that Lomachenko has. And there's a huge separation there, and that is going to really pose a lot of problems for Teofimo. Also, I think Teofimo is going to be in for a surprise, because Lomachenko can counter him when he starts going backward. He can fight backward. He can do that, and he can counter going backward. So I don't know. I mean, I have an idea where I think they got this idea that Lomachenko can't fight going backward, but it's just not true. And I think Teofimo's going to find out come fight night.
Richard Commey, the must-do, can't-do on the
Well,
champ.
they told us in the fight.
So here you can see that they're both still trying to figure each other out, trying to get used to each other's rhythm, to their timing. And coming up here, you can see that Commey catches that jab. And I do believe he's able to land his own jab there. And then after that, you can see that Teofimo's still jabbing, but he's not putting himself in a position where he's not going to get countered. And that's like, I don't know, is it the fourth time that that's happened to him? I mean, he is going to make an adjustment. And I think you'll see that coming up here, which is it's good to see, because that's something that I hadn't seen him do previously. All right, so now okay, he still gets caught, but you can see that he's starting to move over to the right, to the outside. He's moving over to the weak side of Commey when he's jabbing now, which is what I thought he should have done that in the beginning. But now you can see he's starting to make some adjustments to his game here. And he didn't get the timing right, but he's got he's making these changes so he can avoid that jab from Commey when he gets, because he'll jab when he's on that front foot right there. He always does that. Okay, here you can see that Lopez has taken that position that he likes to take when he likes to leap. And Commey is there on the front foot and looks like he's going to jab, but he's got his guard down. He's close, he's within range. And so this is a prime time for Lopez to make one of those leaping attacks to kind of take the initiative, take his opponent by surprise. I don't think it works here though, but that's how you can tell what's going to happen. Okay, yeah, he throws a jab with a cross to the body. Okay, so Lopez is here, and he throws a feint to see if Commey raises his guard again, but Commey jumps backward. And now if you watch here too, this is interesting. So Commey just threw a jab, and now he's going to jab again, but it's more like a touch jab. And then you see that he drops his hands down like that, like he drops both of his gloves down. And if you look closely, you can see that his facial expression changes. And when you're fighting somebody too, you don't get to see it on the camera, but when you look at somebody's face, that you can kind of read their face, what their expressions and how it changes, and you can see that Commey's facial expression changes. And it's kind of like a tell. And then when he drops his hands down like that, you can tell he's going to throw, and Lopez tries to counter him with a jab. And then, because Commey was throwing the right, he transitioned his weight all the way from one side to the other side of his body to get as much power as possible into the punch. And by doing so, he threw off Lopez's timing. And so Lopez missed him. And then you can see too that Commey's really strong. Look how easily he pushes Teofimo back onto the ropes. I mean, Commey has a lot of strength.
It's a good patient round from both fighters. Good.
Yeah, so I thought this was kind of funny because apparently Commey didn't get the memo that Teofimo likes to throw that leaping left hook, and you can see that he's moved over towards the ropes and he's got his guard down because he feels safe, because there's a lot of space between Teofimo and himself. And as soon as Teofimo sees that Commey has his guard down like that, you can see that he repositions himself and takes that step forward. This time he launches himself immediately, because when he steps forward, Commey doesn't raise up his guard. He keeps it down, so he leapt right away in order to take advantage of that. And I remember this in the fight. I remember seeing this. And Teofimo has all his weight on the back foot again, so it looks as if he's ready to throw a jab. And if you notice, he has not thrown that right hand of his. Maybe a couple times so far, and definitely not a uppercut or a hook or anything like that. I think he threw a straight to the body once. But anyway, so he's got his weight all the way on the back of the foot right here, and you can see that Commey throws a jab, and then he throws the right hand, and he pulls his punch. And I remember seeing that in the fight, and I was wondering, like, why did he pull his punch like that? And then it becomes obvious because Teofimo had moved back into that position, and he kind of moved backward, and Commey was going to end up just, clipping Teofimo's shoulder, and so he pulled it. But it actually in my mind, it had the unfortunate effect of bringing all of Teofimo's attention to that, because, when somebody pulls a punch like that, it makes it stick out. And I think this is the moment when Teofimo kind of caught on that Commey likes to throw a touch jab, and then when he throws a touch jab to measure the distance, he comes over with the right. So it's a jab, touch jab, right, overhand right. And this is when Teofimo really noticed that tendency of Commey to throw that jab and then come over with the overhand right. And now you can see that, again, Teofimo doesn't really judge the distance correctly, and he eats a jab. He did clip Commey with that left hook right there, but he's still trying to get the timing down and the distance down, and he hasn't got there yet. But, it is what it is, like the first round still. It's towards the end of the first round, but it's still the first round. Now look here. Teofimo dips that shoulder down again. He's about to throw a leaping left hook, and Commey slips it. And that shows that Commey's actually a very good boxer. I mean, he picked up on that right away. Caught him once, but didn't catch him the second time. And, that says a lot, when you start fighting these top level fighters. Because we saw Nakatani able to pick up on that, and now we saw Commey pick up on that, right away. And that tells me that I think that Lomachenko is probably going to really pick up on that. Probably the first time that Teofimo does that. And then coming up here again, you can see Commey throws that jab and then comes over with the right again. And this time, Teofimo picked up on that, and he was able to slip that right hook. Also, you'll notice too that was at the end of the first round. So Teofimo was able to go back to his corner and reflect on what just happened. Reflect on the first round. And that's what you call the recency effect. Because in short-term memory, you're going to remember what happened last more easily than anything else. And so it was kind of, in my mind, it was kind of unfortunate that Commey missed with that right hook. I mean, it was fortunate for Teofimo, but unfortunate for Commey, because Teofimo was able to pick up on that, and now he's going to remember. He's going to remember that he's going to throw that jab, and then he's going to come over, the top of that right and try to catch Teofimo. So now, talking about ring IQ, look at these adjustments that Teofimo's making. Now he's throwing an up jab, and he is moving off to Commey's weak side so he doesn't get caught. And, this shows that he went back to his corner and he thought about things, and he's already implementing these changes in the beginning of the second round. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so now you can see that Commey's a little irritated that he got caught like that, so he follows Lopez back with 3 jabs. And now we see Lopez on the front foot, and he's rocking back and forth again, And here you can see that he baited Commey, or as Teddy Atlas would say, he'd say Lopez told a fib, and Commey believed it, because you can see that Teofimo feinted Commey with that right, and it caused Commey to drop his guard, as you can see right here. And then when he did that, when Lopez starts doing that rocking motion sometimes, and especially when he gets his hands down like that, you just know that he's gonna be leaping forward, probably with a leaping left hook. But this time he mixed it up. He baited Commey out of position, because last time he threw that, Commey was able to slip it. But this time, because he baited Commey out of position, he was able to come around the guard. Well, Commey dropped his guard, so he was able to catch him with that, So he's making all these changes in the second round, which, it shows that Lopez is a very smart fighter. Okay, now you can see Commey lost his balance there, and I think he's a little bit buzzed. He catches Lopez with a jab. And now, however, we come to that point when Lopez gets the knockout. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and you can see that these are they're range finders. He's trying to get his distance, and Lopez has got his weight back on the back foot, and he's throwing those jabs out there just to make sure that he's got the range right. And he does that, and he's starting to transition his weight back to the back foot so he can load up that right and just throw it, and he gets popped. And I think in Commey's mind, he was mixing it up a bit. He was trying to make it inconspicuous what he was doing, but he inadvertently made it conspicuous. I mean, he telegraphed it, because once we already knew that once he throws out those jabs, he likes to come back with that overhand right, and he's doing that, and he's just trying to get the distance. Lopez is looking at his face. We already know he drops his hand, so it was just it was obvious what Commey was going to do right there. It was just obvious. And then Lopez makes a full weight transition, and this is just good technique, because when Lopez throws that right, he makes a full weight transition and gets his head off the line and off to the left, and he is able to catch Commey like that, and catch him in a way where his punch was, the power of his punch was doubled, because you had Commey coming forward and Lopez punching, so it was, kind of like two cars colliding. And that was that. So, was it a lucky punch? No, it wasn't. I think Lomachenko's just, probably saying that to get under his skin or something. I don't know. But it was definitely not a lucky punch, but it was also kind of obvious, too. I don't want to take anything away from Lopez. That was he made a lot of adjustments when he came back in that second round. I mean, from first round to second round, there's huge improvement how he adjusted his fighting strategy in that second round there, and to such an extent that he just took out Commey in the middle of the round. I think it's very impressive.
By Lopez, that sends Commey back here at the start of round 2. Oh, what a big shot by Lopez! And Commey is on spaghetti legs here in round 2. The champion is hurt badly.
Okay.
Can Lopez do it? He has 2 minutes to work. Big right.
Okay, so this took a lot longer than I had really planned on. This is almost, like 30 minutes long. I thought it was going to be about 10 minutes long. But before I finish this, I just want to add one thing too. Lopez and his not liking to fight tall fighters. Well, look at this. Nakatani, 5'11 and a half, 71 inches. Well, look at this. William Silva, 6'1", 71-inch reach. So this I don't fight tall fighters stuff. Yeah. You know, I don't think he should have said that. I think he's taken away from Nakatani because Nakatani's he's a great boxer. He was a great boxer. He gave him, Teofimo a ton of problems. And I think I think you have to honor the people you fight. You have to give them the respect and the credit that they deserve. And saying that by his standards, he didn't fight well and it was because he's not good against tall fighters. No, he's fought tall fighters before and he's done well against them. It's just that Nakatani he's a good fighter. He's a good boxer. And so I think he should have really just given him the credit that he deserves. I think it's respectful, and I think that's something that, I wish he would have done instead of making up that excuse because, nobody likes excuses. Nobody. Anyway, I wanted to do another video, but these things take a long time. And I might do another one, and instead of just, recording my voice, because I feel like I'm really long-winded, I'm just going to type it out and put down kind of how I think. I wanted to touch on ring IQ and how I think Lomachenko and Lopez are going to come into this fight and what they're going to do and like how they're going to fight each other. And take some clips from certain fights that they had and then, just go over that. But I think I might write it out because I think it'll be more succinct. I won't be talking so much, and there's a lot of construction going on where I'm at right now, and it gets picked up in the recording process. Luckily today, I was able to avoid that, but I don't think I'll be so lucky tomorrow. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to do another video, and, maybe you guys found this kind of interesting. But the other one I'm going to do, I think it'll be more interesting, but I do not want to make it as long as this one. So we'll see. Anyway, see how it goes.
Us, Lopez, Teofimo, and Loma, the silly Lomachenko in the ring with them. We'll talk about that when we return.